Elisabeth Braw in London. She's a senior fellow with the Atlantic Council's Transatlantic Security Initiative. Great to have you here with us on TRT World. What do you think acted as a catalyst for Zelensky to come with such a decision?
One thing alone, and that is U.S. pressure. So no country that has been invaded ever holds national elections. No democratic country, I should say, because it is extremely difficult to hold elections during a war. And this is why Ukraine has continued to be governed by Zelensky since it was invaded now almost 4 years ago, because of provisions in the Ukrainian constitutions that foresee suspension of elections if the country were to be invaded. And what has happened is that the US has put enormous pressure on Ukraine to hold elections. And the reason the US can put that pressure on Ukraine is that the United States really is the determining factor in whether this peace agreement comes into being or whether war continues. And that is just something that Ukraine has had to accept.
The fact that the U.S. is the one pushing for this referendum goes to show that the United States is confident that the outcome of this referendum would be something that favors the peace deal that's being talked about. But I don't see any indication of that happening on the ground. I've read multiple polls that have been conducted within Ukraine, and majority of Ukrainians are not okay with ceding territory to Russia.
No, they feel very strongly that Ukraine should not be ceding territory to Russia. This is what they've been defending their country against now for almost 4 years, at incredible loss of life, an incredible inconvenience, and much worse. It has been for horrendous years for the Ukrainians, but they have continued to fight bravely because they feel strongly that their territory belongs to them. So it will be interesting to see now that this referendum and election will come to pass, what the outcome will be. And we should remember that logistically it's just incredibly difficult, if not impossible, to hold elections, nationwide elections, in a country that is at war. And yet this is what Ukraine now will.
Do you think this is President Zelenskyy's last chance?
Well, it's his only chance. There is no way Zelensky could defy the United States. As your viewers will know, European countries have continued to support Ukraine steadfastly, and now at this point, their support in terms of military equipment essentially makes up for the support that the US gave in the past. But still, when it comes to security guarantees, which is really what Ukraine needs if a peace deal is signed, in terms of security guarantees, it needs the United States to be part of it. And the United States has said that that will involve the Ukrainians holding this referendum and election. So President Zelensky and the rest of the Ukrainian government really didn't have a choice. And they've been frankly, in this precarious situation now for months, knowing that the United States wants the war to end quickly, wants them to give territory away, and also seems to sometimes, more than sometimes, be willing to believe Russia's version of events and even to support Russia in the negotiations.
Elisabeth, what kind of precedent do you think it's going to set if this referendum is held and the outcome favors Russia and the US?
If the outcome, against all expectations, if the outcome were to favor the loss of territory, essentially the Ukrainians giving territory to Russia, then the message that would send is that any stronger country can attack, invade a less strong country, a weaker neighbor, and get away with it. And we should remember this is banned by the United Nations Charter. And in theory, countries around the world, countries are members of the United Nations, are supposed to stand up for the country that is attacked. But as we now are painfully aware, that doesn't always happen. And the Ukrainians have painfully found out that that support is not universal. And it's worth remembering that while European countries strongly support the Ukrainians, other countries, including China, including many other countries around the world, have even declined to blame this war on Russia and have continued to trade with Russia. And that is also to the detriment of the Ukrainians. If countries had stopped trading with Russia after it invaded Ukraine, after its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Russia would not have been able to continue fighting this war.
Fascinating insights. Elisabeth Braw, thanks very much for joining us here on TRT World. As always, really appreciate your taking out the time.